Welcome to OState Daily. Casey Porter here, so glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, today we have a very, very special guest joining OState Daily. Left-handed pitcher, the Friday night starter for Oklahoma State. Harrison Bodendorf joins OSU, so Dirty Harry's what they call you, right? Do we have a story behind that?
No, honestly, it was just the media guys. They when they made a post, they went with it, and for I think it was the A&M game was the first time they debuted it after that, and then they came up to me after and they were like, hey, we just went with Dirty Harry, how do you think? And I was like, honestly, I'm impartial to it.
Okay.
It doesn't matter to me either way.
All right.
So then just stuck with it, and now got the teammates calling me it and everything.
Yeah. So is it after your pitch mix or is it after your dorm room?
Pitch mix.
Okay. All right. So Temecula, California, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's just about halfway in between LA and San Diego.
Yes.
And we're a Giants fan?
Yeah, it was.
And you admit that out loud?
Yeah, I'll admit it out loud. Honestly, nowadays I'd say I'm more just baseball. I like watching pitchers more than anything, being a pitcher myself. But yeah, I grew up being a Giants fan.
All right, so you're a preseason perfect game All-American. You had great summer experience in high school. Your high school is very good. California baseball is elite. So how do we end up in Hawaii? Take us through that.
I threw pretty well this summer going into my senior year. Got some interest from schools, but it's mainly just like teaser calls. Honestly, I was going to JUCO all the way up until about the week of my high school graduation.
Which one?
Palomar.
Okay, yeah.
It's up in Escondido, kind of closer to San Diego. That's where I was planning on going. Kind of already had it all lined up just because I didn't really have any offers. And then, like I said, about 3-4 days before my high school graduation actually is when Hawaii offered me the walk-on spot. And went out there, really loved the pitching coach, Matt Troop. It was one of those things where always been my dream to play Division I baseball, and getting the opportunity, even though it was a walk-on spot, I had to take it. So that's how I ended up there.
Yeah. So, old boy from Oklahoma. I've lived here my whole life. I don't travel a whole lot. You're from California, Southern California, one of the most beautiful spots on earth. You go to college in Hawaii, one of the most beautiful spots on earth. What's a recruiting trip like going to Hawaii? What's that? Take us through that.
It's you fly in there and you're in paradise. The weather is always perfect year round. So since I was a preferred walk-on, my visit was unofficial, so I paid for the flight and everything. And my dad, he travels a good amount for work, so he's a Marriott member, and the Marriott he got was like right on the beach. So,
oh Lord,
it wasn't like a them kind of getting you with that, but it was definitely when I got to the beach and I saw it, I was like, I grew up going to beaches and everything, but Hawaii beaches are different. The water is what really got me. I'm not a big fan of cold water, and California, our water is cold, so when you go to the beach in the summer, it's great. You play spike ball, whatever games on the sand, throw the football, and then you get hot, so you're like, all right, I'm hot, I want to go take a dip in the water.
Yeah.
Hawaii, the water's 80 degrees, so you can kind of go in there.
So immediate impact at Hawaii, you're all Big West your first year. A reliever, right? So kind of take us through that whole first year, the 2 years there at Hawaii.
Yeah, so freshman fall, I got in there, and I think it was just a big weight off my shoulders. High school, everything, your goal is for baseball and stuff, and going to play college. And so when I'm not really getting those phone calls or getting any of those offers, you put a lot of pressure on you. And then when I got out there my freshman year, it was just like, I just get to play baseball again and enjoy it. Don't have pressure on me or anything, and ended up having a really good fall. And was told I was going to pitch a lot. My opening weekend was really cool for me because my birthday is February 18th, which always falls around opening weekend.
Yeah.
So I actually pitched on my birthday for my first appearance. Came in with first and second, no outs. Got a strikeout and double play. Got out of the inning and went like one more inning and got the win too. So it was a pretty good birthday for my first year of college. Then actually the next 3 weekends I ended up starting on Sunday's third game. They were shaky. Results-wise, run-wise was good, but it was like 3 innings, a lot of pitches, a lot of walks, a lot of strikeouts, so I'd put myself in jams and then get out of it. And that kind of happened a little bit. Then I got in my own head, like, I need to be more efficient. I need to stop walking guys so I can go deeper into games as a starter. And had probably my worst start against UConn. And after that,
UConn's good, by the way. Coach Peters has it going.
They were very good. And I was just so focused on that I kind of lost just the competitiveness part. And then after that, actually, they switched my role to what it kind of was both years, which is where Friday nights I was always hot to close the game. And if I ended up throwing Friday, I would most likely still be hot Saturday if I only threw 2 innings, but probably wouldn't throw. And then I'd still start the Sunday game and be more of like an opening kind of deal. And then if I didn't throw Friday, I'd be hot Saturday. And if I threw Saturday, I'd probably throw Saturday, then throw again Sunday out of the bullpen. And if I wasn't needed Friday or Saturday, then I would just start Sunday. So I kind of did it all out there.
Yeah, just be ready at any moment. They call that just know where your feet are at that moment, right?
Yeah.
That kind of deal. So Temecula, California, Southern California, Hawaii. How in the world do you end up in Oklahoma?
Do
you get that quite a bit for people back home, by the way?
A little bit, yeah. They asked me, but the thing is I'm going to school for baseball. That's my main goal. So when I was in the portal and getting calls from schools, honestly, like location where I wanted to go is not a big deal for me because, my freshman year, before I even went to school out of high school, I went and played summer ball in a college summer ball league before I was even in my freshman year. Lived in Illinois for 2 months of summer. First time living alone in the middle of nowhere, Illinois. So I kind of got accustomed to living on my own, living in a foreign place early, I enjoyed it a lot. Baseball was fun. I had good teammates out there. So I kind of realized, for me, the place doesn't matter too much, because it's really your teammates, the team, and the baseball that makes wherever you are. That's kind of, I didn't base where I wanted to go off location. It was more off the coaches, the team, traditions, things like that I thought would be a good fit.
So did you and Rob and Josh sit down and say, hey, I want to be a starter, this is going to be your role? Was that defined in fall through scrimmages, or is that just something that's just happened?
Yeah, it was definitely when I was in the transfer portal, that was the thing I was talking to coaches about, was not like, I want you to guarantee me I'm going to be a starter, because I think if any coach tells you that while you're in the portal, it's BS, because no coach can promise that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't looking for them to promise it or anything. I just wanted to know that that's something that could be in the works for me if I earn it by pitching good in the fall and things like that, not just where they see me as only a reliever type. And then the fall, Rob does a great job. He treats every single one of us from top to bottom like we're all going to be starters. This way we all have the same opportunities. We all do the same things in the fall, and that leaves it completely up to us kind of about who does what, which I think is great. And happy I got to end up starting.
Big West is great baseball. I mean, it's some of the best baseball in America. Very underrated. Cal State Fullerton, all the California. There's a California educational system, and there's a Cal State educational system, and all of them have good baseball teams.
Yeah.
Plus, you have teams like Pepperdine and some other scattered in teams like that. Just great baseball at Hawaii. But still, here you are. You're in a major league stadium. You're facing Louisville, who's produced Will Smith and all these guys that have been big time. I mean, they've been in the World Series all these times. That had to be a eureka moment, didn't it? Like, oh wow, I'm really doing this.
Yeah, it was definitely more of after the fact. I think I do a pretty good job of kind of limiting all that and remembering at the end of the day it's just a game when it's time for me to actually focus.
You're able to do that?
Yeah, well, it was kind of funny actually. Aiden Miola, before we broke it off to start the first inning, he was like, "You nervous?" And I was like, it's year 3, man, not really. And then just kind of went out there and did my thing. And then afterwards, though, when I was done, I kind of looked around like, wow, I'm in a big league stadium. I just pitched in a big league stadium against a great team.
And won our first game, by the way. We needed that win, too.
Yeah. And, it's like, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So the Friday night starter thing, you started the Saturday night starter. And for people that don't know, most people who are watching this do, but baseball people are creatures of habit, so to move it from 7 days rest to 6 days rest, that takes a minute. I mean, you can't just do that all in 1 week. So take us through the process from going to Saturdays to Fridays.
Yeah, I mean, I think, believe it or not, I was lucky enough with kind of the crappy weather we've had, where I already had to do that when I was still Saturdays, because we went to Globe Life, we came back, the UT Arlington series, Friday and Saturday got canceled due to the weather. And then when Sundays came, Rob said that, it would be too hard for Gabe to go start Sunday and then try to bounce 2 days early to Friday for Tennessee. So that's why he gave Gabe that relief appearance, just so he can keep getting his work in, but it'd be too much to start him and try and bounce him back 2 days. So then I ended up starting that Sunday game and then had to be ready for Saturday the following weekend against A&M. And then had a couple other times where I threw like Illinois State through Sunday, then the next weekend I come back Saturday. So I already kind of got accustomed to having only 6 days. So when I had to do it for going from Saturday to Friday, I'd already done it a few times.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing for me was just, taking that week between those 6 days between to kind of make sure I'm feeling good. Normally I like to try to go 2 bullpens a week between starts. But when I had 1 day's less rest, normally I would take one more day on the back end. So I'd push what would have been my first one back a day.
Yeah.
And then just do a longer singular bullpen. Yeah. So I still have the extra day's rest behind the bullpen and 1 extra day in front of it, rather than the kind of normal 2 I would do on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, you ever wanted to throw your bullpen on the Tuesday 5 game yet? Have you asked Rob to do that yet?
I've thought about it, definitely. Yeah, especially when we get late into the games and they're getting close. I've thought like, Rob, I can get it. I haven't actually gone up to him yet, but it's
make this my side pin, man. Just give me 1 inning.
Yeah, it's definitely been crossing my mind.
Okay, so you're a transfer portal guy. I just got through talking to Braden Smith, who is a JUCO guy. You mentioned Aiden Miola, who's been here, I think, since like 1988, something like that. He's definitely a senior, one of the senior leaders here. So you have this wide mix of different backgrounds. Plus, you got guys like Mario from the Bronx. You got you from California. You got a bunch of kids from Oklahoma. Braden from Omaha. Wow, trying to mix all that together, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I think, Josh does a great job of building a standard and a tradition here. And I think people like Aiden, Drew, Ian, all the seniors that have been here for a while, they did a great job early on of introducing those traditions and kind of the standards that we have here to all the new guys, which I think is always a great starting point, is kind of keep what traditions and standards are at a team. And then it's also kind of cool where you get the input from guys who aren't from here.
Yeah.
Mario, you get your Bronx stuff, and we always like to joke around about stuff like, like New York this, or how are the bagels here compared to there, just things like that. So it's kind of cool to get the mix from everyone while we still keep that same tradition that Josh has put in guys for all the years he's been coaching here.
Yeah.
So I think, a lot of credit to Ian, Aiden, Drew, Ryan, all the older guys who've been here for, keeping that same tradition and kind of helping lay the foundation for the new guys. And then it's also cool when you get to sprinkle in stuff from other places as well.
You mentioned Ian, incredible positive energy, and going all the way back to Kingfisher. I live about 19 miles from where he grew up, so I knew all about Ian forever. So I've known all about the positive energy, the pitch framing, the block. One thing about you like to throw that sweeping slider that you need to be able to bury it, right? And you can with a guy like Ian. So talk about what he's meant to you.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Actually, it was funny. I realized that besides Arkansas in the fall, which was my last time throwing in the fall before I got shut down, I didn't throw to him once.
Oh, really?
That. Yeah.
Was it Bo or Charlie?
Both.
Oh,
it was just
nice.
how it always ended up lining out. I was always facing him. He was always hitting against me. So really until
that's not fun.
No. But yeah, really until the spring, I didn't throw to him much. So. But yeah, it's awesome throwing to him because he brings great energy behind the plate. I think he does a great job of kind of balancing, like he knows when to give the positive energy, but he also knows when to tell you like, hey, you need to execute that pitch better.
Yeah.
Like in games especially, because sometimes people can be too positive. Like you don't make a great pitch and it's like, all right, you get him the next time. But sometimes you need like that was bad, man. You got to get better. You got to be better than that. And I think he does a great job of mixing the two. And then it's behind the plate. You have all the faith in the world. If it's 0-2 and you throw a changeup in the dirt or a slider in the dirt, I know all I can worry about is just executing my pitch and getting it in the dirt. And Ian's going to do a good job with it back there.
So I don't know what, I've never talked to you about it. I don't know what you call your pitches, but you have the big sweeper to the back foot of right-handers. You can throw it to the back door. Looks like you turn the ball left with maybe a two-seam, that type of deal. And a changeup. Can you take us through your mix?
Yeah. So fastball is I actually started throwing two, like that I call them two different pitches. Just kind of the way I throw in my arm slot. The original one I've had all the way up until this year that I only threw one, I actually grip it like the most traditional four seam you've probably ever seen.
Okay.
And it actually it gets the run just from the slot, and being a lefty, they always say lefties have that.
I hate you guys, by the way.
Yeah. So kind of always had the run, and then one day me and Rob were messing around, and he's like, you already get crazy kind of sinkerish movement on your fastball. What if we actually tried a sinker grip? And we did it, and it kind of took off, and that was just a random bullpen in the fall, actually, and we kind of never touched on it much. And then we got back in the spring, and we were inter-squatting before season started, and he threw one down in the game, and kind of threw me off guard a little bit. I heard sinker, and I was like, huh. And then I was like, all right, whatever. And I threw it, and on like the TrackMan, he said it actually had more run and a little less of the vert. So he's like, even though your fastball already runs, you can still give kind of two different looks. So we started doing that, and it's actually been nice because.
So your sinker turned right or left to you?
Left to me.
Okay.
It still goes this way, but it's more of like a forward and with a little more down, and my normal fastball is more just like kind of straight to the left.
Yeah.
And actually, as I've been going along in the season, they've been differentiating better. I've started to, I don't know if it's because I throw them both now, that like the four seam is actually starting to be a little more true. It still has that run.
Starting to ride a little bit more.
Starting to ride a little bit more, and so the sinker's actually differentiating, which is helping a lot, getting more whiffs on the fastball because there's kind of two of them now.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I think no one will ever look at my fastball, my four seam, as just a true normal fastball. So when other teams are looking at me and they're looking at the scouting reports and stuff, they probably can't even tell that there's two different pitches.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure, most people can't. Sometimes like the TrackMan reports even come back and say I threw 50 total fastballs and 35 of them were four seams and only 15 were sinkers. It'll normally read as only like 15 fastballs and the other 40 are sinkers, and that's just because it still runs a lot, but it's like just, so that kind of helps because sometimes I'll throw that sinker and that actually sinks, and I'll get like a ground ball or something, and then I'll throw a four seam, and it's almost like they're waiting for it to sink more and they'll miss it.
Wow.
So that's been big time. And then changeup's kind of been my bread and butter throughout college.
So three left turners.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The changeup is just normal circle change, and I think what makes it so good is one, it's four seam circle, so it spins exactly like my fastball and has pretty much similar movement. It goes a little more left, but it's same spin, same movement, just 10 miles an hour slower. So
10's perfect.
Yeah, 10's a great number. And then the slider, first 2 years of college, always struggled with it. In high school, believe it or not, I threw over the top. Couldn't tell you exactly when I changed to how I throw now. It's one of those things where just kind of happened naturally, and I didn't even know I did it until I saw a video of me, and I was like, what is that? And just been going through it since. Yeah, so I threw a curveball in high school, which
big old slurvy looking thing probably.
Yeah, and that was my bread and butter in high school. And then when I went to that summer ball league in Illinois, college baseball has smaller seams than the high school ones, and so I told my catcher, like, hey, fastball, curveball, changeup, and I was like, but mainly fastball, curveball, I don't really throw changeups. And he called curveballs in the first inning, and they were all just popping out of the hand. I couldn't spin them, and then he was like, you know what? Throwing the changeup down. I threw the changeup down, and it ended up being pretty good. And so that's how that ended up happening. And then when I got to my freshman year, my coach, Matt Troop, was telling me, like, you cheat on your curveball, you bring your arm up, and he's like, you probably got away with that in high school. Hitters aren't as good, the eyes and trained to see that stuff, but he's like, in college you can't. And so I worked on the slider.
So you had two different delivery positions based on your curveball.
It wasn't anything like super crazy, but it's like, I mean, really.
But somebody that watches video can pick up on it.
Yeah, and you can't, because I mean, you can't throw a curveball from where it was, and it was just one of those things where like, they used to be the same because my fastball used to be up here, and then when I naturally, my arm kind of came down here, and then I tried to throw a curveball, you'd want to get back on top of it and go back up here. So it's like, we got to try and get the slider on because you can keep the slot. So I worked on that and Kind of got it sometimes, but it was super inconsistent. And then by the time we got to the season, fastball and changeup was so effective. I think I maybe threw like 3 sliders my whole freshman year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and then last year was similar. I started throwing a little more to lefties, but I didn't have any confidence to righties with it. And even the lefties, it was more of like sometimes I get a swing or something on it, but it was a show me pitch really. Yeah. And then, Rob's the slider wizard. So we got here and that was a big focus in the fall. I actually toned it, made it less sweepy and more firm. Yes. I came in, it was like 74, 75 and just big. Yeah. It was almost like I was on a curveball just from that slot. And then so we tried to almost tone it back and make it as cuttery as I could. Nice. And then find that happy medium.
Just tighten it up a little bit.
Yep, tighten it up, and then I got it to like 84 in bullpens where it wasn't really moving much at all, but it's just like getting the feel of throwing the pitch hard that's spinning that way, because fastball changeup I can just throw hard and they'll take off. Yeah. I naturally am a pronator, so I naturally make the ball go left. Yeah. So it's just feeling that way of spinning it and getting a ball to go right, firm, and then once I found that, then it's just kind of tone it back till I got to where I am now, where I kind of keep it around that 79, 81 range and have a little bit more movement on it.
Yeah, so you grew up in Temecula, California. It's what, 70 degrees there every day?
Yeah, it's in the summer it gets up there in the hundreds and stuff.
Okay. So you'll be used to what you're going to see this weekend in Arizona.
Yeah, and I played a lot of travel baseball in high school and stuff in Arizona in that heat, so I'll be pretty used to it.
Okay, so that's all the business I got for you, Harrison. What a great job you did answering all these questions. Having a 4-seam that can also turn, I mean, you get the right and the run to it. No wonder why guys don't hit that like they haven't been able to this year. So let me ask you some lighter questions here. Okay, if you could have any one superpower, which a baseball guy, like I eat, sleep, and breathe baseball, somebody who can, like I see you being able to throw a 4-seam that also turns, that's like a superpower to me anyways, but if you could have like a superpower, what one superpower would that be and why?
I think I gotta go flying.
Flying?
Yeah, it's just, I mean.
No traffic?
Yeah, no traffic, just could go wherever you want, whenever you want. And just, I feel like it'd be so, like when you're in a plane or something and you look out the window, it's kind of cool to see it. And when you could do that just on your own, flying around, I feel like that'd be so awesome.
Best memory back at Temecula High School Valley, Temecula Valley High School.
Baseball-wise?
Doesn't matter.
I'd say baseball-wise would probably be senior day.
Nice.
It was, I mean, one, it's all my friends I grew up with playing baseball. It's all of our last times playing together pretty much and stuff, and it's always a great time. And for me, I wasn't pitching that day because I had thrown, so I got to do, I was a PO in high school too, so I never really hit or anything.
So you got the whole senior day off?
No, I got a hit.
Oh, you got to hit?
Yeah, and it was awesome because I threw the eye black on, did the cross, because I never wore eye black either, so I did like the crosses and the eye black.
I got to know about the at-bat. Take us through.
Wore an eye sleeve. First pitch hack, smoked a ground ball.
Oh, dead pull,
dead pull. Just, big leg kicks.
No, we're not duck, part, and sunder, right? No way.
Yeah.
Oh, so you hit right-handed?
I do hit right-handed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you must have somebody in your background that knows baseball, like you hit right-handed, throw left-handed?
No, golf. My dad was a PGA pro, not golfing, not professional, but like a teaching pro at a course. So as a kid, when I was born, it's still like Phil Mickelson, he's coming up, but like lefty clubs are way more expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Golfers are less common. So by the time I had a golf club in my hands, it was always right-handed, and I was just swinging right-handed golf clubs like that, like when I was 2, 3, whatever. So in baseball, I just same thing, swung right-handed.
Well, if you're going to be a PO, you've got to be good at golf. Because you're going to play it every day when you become a pro, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like every day you're going to play golf.
Yeah.
So you got to be good at it. So best round of golf?
78.
Really?
Out here.
Nice. And where at?
Cimarron.
Cimarron,
not
over there in
Cimarron
Perkins.
National, but the one on Perkins.
Yeah, over in Perkins. Yeah, I actually live over the Cimarron National in Guthrie, so I know all about that. That's a good course there. 78, that's nice, man. I got to say, though, if you're going to be a pro, you got to get that down the low 70s. If you're going to be a pro PO, we got to work on that.
Yeah, I actually was not a fan of golf until I got to college, and I think I'm so competitive. I wanted to beat my dad, and my dad's a scratch golfer, and I'm 8 years old, and I'm trying to beat him, and he's just kicking my butt. So I'm like, this sucks. And I get mad, throw clubs, all that. So it wasn't until I got to college and I got away from him, and some of my other pitcher teammates were telling me like, hey, you got to come golfing, and I went out and I'm like, wow, yeah, this is actually fun.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like,
That's awesome.
you can kind of use that grind and that, you love practicing and perfecting your craft that you get out of baseball and do it with something that's fun like golf, and it's not as serious, but still want to get better, and slowly been getting better. My driver was always my biggest issue. I had the big old baseball slice. I'm finally starting to figure that out, and believe it or not, wedges are the best part of my game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You just got to hit that ground ball you hit in senior day to third base if you want to get rid of your slice, right?
Yeah.
So the best part of playing college baseball in Hawaii?
Weather. Yeah. It's 75 degrees year round, low 70, high of 80. Always around that same weather. I mean, the worst you got to deal with is a little rain, which I'm not a big rain guy, but the rain out there is tropical rain. It's warm and soft. It comes for 30 minutes and then it's gone, so it's not bad.
Yeah. So the first reaction you had when you saw the crazy weather here in Oklahoma, being from Southern California, was it like, I need to go hide in the closet, or was it, this is kind of neat, or what was the reaction here?
Yeah, it was actually, I liked it. We got spoiled this fall. It was warm for so long, so it wasn't really until I got back from winter break that it was cold. But I kind of liked it, getting to wear big jackets and stuff that I didn't really wear my whole life. And also, I thought I was going to handle the cold a lot worse than I did. Layers obviously help, and the wind is what really gets you. When it's cold and windy, that's when it gets to you. But we're spoiled here too. We got those big thermal sleeves for when you're playing, and we got the big jackets and stuff. So it wasn't too crazy, honestly.
You've obviously got the head on the shoulders to be able to figure all this out. We just heard about all the pitch mix. You own everything that you do. So this team, we talked about putting all these pieces together from so many different places, so many different backgrounds. A lot of season ahead. What are the goals for this team?
I think it's just, keep winning, keep kind of building off what we did this weekend. Like you said, we still got a lot of games left. It's still a chance to kind of get on a little hot streak and keep going. And I think the biggest thing is just getting to the tournament. It's my first year here, but I've heard we're pretty good historically in the Big 12 tournament.
Oh yeah.
So I think if we just keep grinding away, keep winning, and get ourselves into the tournament, we got a chance to get on a little hot streak and get going.
I think I've been to every single one of those Big 8/Big 12 tournaments since about 1978. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Harrison Bodendorf, better known as
Harry.
Not Dirty Harry?
Dirty Harry, yeah. Dirty Harry is my new nickname here, yeah. But most of the time I just go by Harry.
The worst nickname, the more respect, right? If you have the worst nickname on the team, that means you're the most respected. You know how that goes, right? Dirty Harry, Harrison Bodendorf, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.